Welcome to spiritandgospel.com. I'm Jason Flowers, and I'm excited to have another episode with you all. I'm excited with my guest that I have today. She is gospel royalty, and that is none other than the one and only Kierra Sheard. How are you?
Hey, I'm
Oh,
good.
I'm excited to have you, of course.
Thank you. You're family, so I'm excited to talk with you. Thank you for what you're doing.
Yes, and thanks for being here. So my first question is, during this COVID-19 lockdown, what have you learned about yourself and or your family that you didn't know before?
That's a good question. What I've learned about myself is that I'm totally enjoying home more than what I thought. I was a bit concerned about the quarantine. I knew I know that we were having conversations like prior to it actually happening. So I was like, what's going to happen with income? Because income for me comes from me being out on the road. And of course, there are other parts of my brand that allows for passive income. But I was concerned about that. But I'm super glad that I am the hustler and businesswoman that I am because I've been straight and thank God I'm, not crazy with money. So that's one thing, but I can be better. So that's what I have learned to answer your question.
Right.
There are some spending habits that I have that I can't have because we're in quarantine that
Right.
I'm like, oh, I can definitely do without that. Those are some things that I know. And I would say some things that I've noticed about my family is we're true to this. Like we're true. Like we're all involved in the church, but we're true to this. Like it's not just because you go to church that's your lifestyle. No, God is our life, and
Right.
I just absolutely love that. It's organically who we are. Like we really have an adoration for the Lord, and that's who we call on and cry out to. I've learned that we're true to this, and we are really down for each other. When it's all said and done, we do remember and have enough sense to consider that I'm human. In this moment, I need to be a son. In this moment, I need to be a granddaughter, or whatever it is. So those are
Right.
some things that I've learned about us that we ride or die for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting. You said that I, I found myself during this time saving a lot of money, and I'm like, wow, dang, I was spending that
Yeah.
much money. Like that's crazy.
Right.
But as I knew you mentioned that you talked about that you are a woman of many brands, and you have developed so many brands over the years that is now sustaining you from the time that you go away from the road right now. Where do you think you've gotten that drive to even do that?
I think I've gotten that drive from my parents. I mean, you see, my dad,
Mhm.
from my grandparents too. I'm super close to my grandparents and my parents. And my grandfather has teased me, like, why do you want to come and sit and talk to this old man talking about himself? Because I'll literally sit at his feet and ask him questions about how to be frugal and to be good with your money. And my grandfather and my father, they teach me that to be a good steward is not just to be that over the material things, or just what people see, but how will you live when everything goes away? How does it work for you when everything goes away? So I think I get that from both my grandparents, my parents, and then the hustling side. I'm really close to, I'm a daddy's girl,
Right.
so I love the men in my family, and I think what has inspired me is their grind. And my mother as well, her level of creativity, she's never boxed herself in. She's always aspired to be more. She's a timeless woman, and from our personal experiences with her, she likes to be around young people who are young. She doesn't make them feel like, oh honey, you don't know nothing, I'm the legend, I'm the queen. She does not carry
Right.
that disposition. So I would say I get those things from them. And then my aunt Dorinda, she is a hustler's hustler.
For
So
sure.
yeah, I think it's because of what I come from, and just wanting to not be that trailblazer, or like we call it legend, that's intimidated by the generation that comes before you. You're supposed to embrace them. I don't want to stop anybody from entering into their time or being that person, which I don't have that ability. If it's God's thing, then it's gonna happen. But I want to be one that encourages and not be afraid to encourage because of what I don't have, or me feeling like I'm being X'd out of the equation. So that too is what inspires me.
Right. So that's interesting. You say all of that. I do want to talk about embracing family legacy. Um, how do you feel like you've embraced family legacy? When did you really understand, the family that you were born into? Like, wow, wait a minute. Because I know one thing I do know about your parents has always been instrumental in keeping you level headed.
Yeah.
I know that. And I kind of just always wanted to know, like, when did you really find out, like, the legacy that your parents hold, and how did it really impact you?
That's a good question. I think I started noticing it when I was in school, and a lot of my friends would bring to my attention, like, did you hear, the urban artists mention your family? And I'm like, no, for some reason, I would be so up to speed with just pop culture and my favorite artist in another genre of music. But for some reason, I would be completely oblivious to the moments of when your family was mentioned. Hello.
Right.
And I think having those moments in school, and then finally hearing, like, I saw something not too long ago on social media, and they were like, the Clark sisters are your favorite singer. And I think I started experiencing that when I saw people like Missy Elliott, and because I love Missy Elliott, and I think
Mhm.
she spoke to me most because she was a plus size woman, but she didn't let that stop her. And she was a female musician. But I think those moments is when I was like, oh, so you guys really are somebody. Uh, but yeah, and then of course just seeing their talent. Like I've had moments, and I still have moments when I'll be on the road with my mom and she'll be singing, and I will be like the rest of the people in the room, like, what? Did you really just do that? As if she's not
Right.
my mom. So I still have those moments, to answer your question.
No, it's interesting you say that you had that moments with your mom, because I remember when you first started, like, really doing the singing thing, you used to always say, like, why do people sitting there looking at me like that?
Right. That's so true, Jay.
I
That's so
remember you
true.
complaining, like, why are they just sitting there looking at me? Because they're looking at you like in awe, like, wow.
Right.
Like, oh my God, all of that is coming out of this young girl like that. So I just
Yeah.
thought that's funny. But that's
That's so
interesting
true.
too. But I do want to talk about, like I said, you're a woman of many brands and you're doing a whole lot. Of course, we're going to get to the album and I'm going to get to the movie as well. But before we get there, I know you put it on Instagram, um, catching Kierra the experience. And I know you have not officially released the announcement yet, but I want to know if you might can give me a sneak peek.
I will say it will be, I don't know if
Not
that's
care what it
giving
is.
too
Just
much.
tell me what I will feel or come away with. Maybe that.
You'll definitely have, um I can say, a live music experience.
Okay.
And it's gonna be really special. It's something that I've always wanted to do. I've not wanted to be like boxed in because I'm a gospel artist. Like,
Mhm.
you and I know we enjoy gospel music, but we also
Mhm.
enjoy other genres of music. But we also enjoy the production of other genres and what they do. So I'm really excited about that. But you'll see it, and I'm excited.
You're doing some things, got some things in the work. I'm excited about it. Really, really excited about it. And actually, that goes into the album. I will say that me being at the live recording, I was kind of like in awe again, as
Me
always.
too. Me too.
Like, wow, she's just like, you and your brother just taking it up a notch and trying to elevate the music and just bring it whole an entire experience about it. That really was
Yeah.
an experience. And if what you're about to do is going to even top that or supersede that, I know it's going to be something great.
Thank
But yeah, so
you.
how was that experience, recording the album and preparing for it and just doing that? What was that experience for you like?
The experience for the recording, it made me nervous. I don't want to say it's nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking, but it just made me nervous because, again, I've been out of the market with music for 5 years. And God has blessed me to kind of just carry me over with like the features as a bridge. I've been featured on a lot of projects and I'm super grateful for that. But for a long time, I was like, I can't wait. When is my moment when I can put out my stuff? And
Mhm.
so having like that adrenaline and pressure with you coming back, what are you going to do? And knowing that the people are there to either genuinely support you or to genuinely see, is this going to be an epic fail?
Yeah.
That was really, that challenged me, that pushed me, but it was exciting overall because I just wanted it to be right. And at the same time, I think what has inspired me is just keeping at the forefront of my mind, while you want to be number one, don't let that be the ultimate goal. Like, really make sure you're there serving the people and putting out music that uplifts and inspires. So it was a great process, and I was super excited and proud of myself and thankful to God for the songs that He had given me, because this was my first time doing writing on the entire project but one song. So I've never done that, and I was glad that I had a team of people who did not insinuate any form of doubt in my skill or gift. They were completely open with collaborating. So Harmony Samuels, he was excellent at the studio part of it, and he even allowed me to say, "Hey, can I flip that song that's supposed to be an R&B song or a pop song? Can I have that for myself?" He was open to stuff like that. So that experience was very encouraging. But my brother is like my interpreter. He's like what a mother is to a toddler in a room full of people that don't understand what that toddler is saying. I
Mhm.
literally can give my brother songs without instrumentation, and he would just be like, "I got it," and he delivers. So you got songs like Always Win, It Keeps Happening, what we did with Redeemer, how we revamped it just a little bit, I'll Follow. So it was a great experience, and I was glad that I had people around me that embraced my vision and didn't try to make me into something else. I was really excited about that.
It's interesting to hear you say that you felt like you just really wanted to get back out there and do some more music. But to me,
Yeah.
honestly, it felt like you never left.
Thank you.
I felt like you've consistently produced music over the years since you started back in being 14 years old. I feel like you've consistently released music since that time, and like
Thank
there's
you.
never been a break. I felt like there's never been a break with you like that, and maybe that's because of you and having your many brands and different things like that. But you were always, I felt like you've always been out there and never left at all. Not even a
Thank
five
you.
years, really. Never felt like it.
Thank you, Jay.
But yeah, let me talk about some of my favorite tracks. And for me, my favorite two favorite tracks on the album. Well, the album in and of itself for me is a total vibe. Like I really do love the album because it kind of takes me back to how your mother did her Finally Karen album. There's so many different layers to it, and it appeals to all people. And every song that you like is on that album. But
Yeah.
for me, I love I Choose You.
Yes.
Love I Choose You and Things You Do. Those two tracks are kind of like big grooves for me, and I could
Yes.
drive into that just for hours. But those are
Thank
my
you.
favorite tracks. I know I don't like to ask you like artists like what's your favorite tracks because like all your tracks, your favorite, send me your favorite tracks. But what song in this time is really ministering to you that you have performed from the album?
That's a great song. That's a great question. And I love that you worded it that way, because I have been asked, "What's your favorite song?" And I'm like, I love every last one of
Right,
them. That's why they're on there, because while everyone is my favorite, to someone else it may not be their favorite, but what
right.
song ministers to me right now, that's perfect. I would say, ooh, I would say It Keeps Happening. And I
Yeah,
think that's why I was so passionate behind that song, because I got some pushback from my team, and they were kind of just like, "I think you should come out with Something Has to Break first." And I was
yeah.
like, but It Keeps Happening sets the tone for literally everything that's happening for me. And I was really, and I love the pressure, the challenge, because that lets me know I don't have yay saying people around me.
Mhm.
But when you can stick to your guns and really speak for why you think it should go this way, I think that's when you know that God is on your side. And this song was prophetic. It was prophetic. And I think the timing of when we released the song was just perfect because It Keeps Happening came out right before the pandemic. And then while we were in the pandemic, we put out Something Has to Break. So It Keeps Happening is the one though, because literally, you got the movie that happened, the record hit number one. And I've been saying I don't want no smoke. I love Kanye. I'm a fan of Kanye, but he was at that spot for
Right.
6 months. So I was I was really excited about that. I'm glad about what gospel music is doing, but it keeps happening. Then I have a book coming. I just closed that deal, and these opportunities are not a lot of the opportunities are coming. Like the movie came by management, but a lot of these opportunities, like the Macy's deal, the book deal, those are all God as my agent. They came out of nowhere. It's like
Wow.
me finding random emails that weren't responded to, and I'm
Wow.
finally responding to them. That's like how God was working. So that It Keeps Happening is literally a declaration for me.
And it sounds like a great testimony. That's
Yes.
interesting. Wow. So let's talk about the movie. That experience had to be a great learning experience for you. So what was one of the, well, first of all, let's talk about one of the scenes that kind of really impacted you.
Mm. There were a lot of things, Jay, that impacted me. I think one was um, the opposition that my grandmother got from the church.
Hmm.
I mean, if she did some of what we doing now, she would have been, I mean, fired and let go and never come
Right.
back. She went on the Grammys and didn't do no contemporary, you know what we call
Right.
contemporary urban gospel. She did a shouting song on the Grammys.
Right. Right.
Literally took church to the Grammys, and just the way she still kept, or like the word says, set your face like a flint. That was inspiring to me, and how she stood in front of those group of leading men. I'm going to defend myself. That was powerful to me.
Right. That is. But that's in your DNA as well. you
Yeah,
know, that the strength of that woman is
yeah,
in your DNA. And I just that's kind of what struck me too. One of my favorite parts of the movie was when she was talking to your Aunt Denise and was telling her like you can do all the frills, all the vocal acrobats, but at the end
right,
of the anointing. And I really do believe, and I was telling your mom and your Aunt Dorinda, that
yeah,
that is what is the legacy of the Clark sisters and the legacy of my
yeah,
grandmother is she stressed the anointing. I mean, you could do whatever. You could sing, you could be the best singer, or you could be the worst singer. And at the end of the day, when you have the anointing, it don't matter because y'all both gonna sound the same when the anointing is with you. So that is what touched
exactly,
me about the movie. But yeah, the movie was
absolutely.
great. I really, really enjoyed it.
Thank
Um,
you.
let's see what else I want to talk about.
I think I would love to add to that part because so many people have great legacies, but like
Mhm.
you just said, it makes all the difference. And I think the season saints all the time, only what you do for Christ will last. And here we have these Clark sisters with this legacy, whom in a moment or in a season they may have felt like, do y'all not remember, or God, have you forgotten me? But here, what has made the difference is you have an anointing, and there's no time to the anointing
Right.
that is on your life, and to see how this network, and I hope that that even inspires those who are watching, listening, to know that God's timing is perfect. And when, like you said, when you're in the face of the Lord, and actually, because her thing was to Anisi was, in which it's to all of us, make sure you
Mhm.
living like something too. Don't just get up there showing that you can do riffs, runs, acrobats, all of that. It's gonna make a difference because you probably can do the exact same thing what the greatest singer can do, but what's gonna make you different and set you apart is, like you said, the spirit of God. So you just reminded me, maybe that's my favorite thing now.
Right. So
Absolutely.
let's talk about the album influences. Because I feel like I know who some of your musical artists you like, who you like and who you listen to, because you can sometimes hear it in your album and sometimes hear them in your voice. But what was some album influence or music influence that may have influenced the album for you, and in even writing some the music or the instrumentation of the music?
So, it's funny you asked that. And as someone that I've grown up with, at the same church, what influenced me was one of our church services Sunday night. So I literally had a recording of, the band just going in after the
Mhm.
choir was done and us just clapping, clapping. And I sent it to Jeju and I said, I want a song like this. He said, all right, we got to just figure it out. So Todd Delaney wrote I'll Follow. He wrote that, and I said, can I have it so that I can, kind of do and massage it to where it sounds more like me.
Mhm.
He gave it to me, absolutely. So I sent it back to him, and he was like, Key, it sounds like modern day worship, but an old school churchy something to it. And so that's the inspiration behind it, was just to show all parts of myself, but to still speak to today. And you hear that Kierra is a church girl at heart, but she also enjoys ratchet music. She also enjoys a good vibe, like how you said, a good vibe. And going back to, I would still love the 90s R&B music. And then I love a great heartfelt worship song. But if you notice on Free, I did a lot of slow, like that slow segment was long, but on this one I didn't stay there because I like energetic music. I like to
Mhm.
woo, let's go. So that was the inspiration behind it, just making sure that I was presenting Christ and the power and move of God with the person that's like Kierra, who likes a vibe, who likes, different sounds, genres, but at the same time, who has this strong adoration for the Lord, but who also will be like, that too. So that was the
Right.
inspiration. Authenticity.
So what did it feel like wearing that iconic jacket during your recording? What did it feel like? Because I know you kind of talked about it before, but what did it really feel like, and what did it really represent for you?
Um, it represented uh that's a good question. It meant a lot for me because literally where I am in my career, my parents had a lot to do with it.
Mhm.
And specifically speaking to my mom and her having me to step out and sing when I was 9.
Mhm.
And with that jacket, and then you have, it's almost like a mantle of time or a mantle of, I don't know, legacy.
Mhm.
Like for a long time, we'll say, or I'll say, we'll often say, oh, it's your season. But seasons expire, they pass. But
Mhm.
time, when you're stepping into your time, a lot of good things, it can continue to happen. This is just your way of life. And so to have had that jacket on that night and to see what this body of work is doing and how it was delivered, live and in that moment, I would say it was a mantle of course an anointing, because my mama was anointed on that Finally Karen record. Yeah.
Yes, she was. And I can always tell when sometimes as an artist, sometimes you know how to do a thing.
Yeah.
You can do it. It's almost
Right.
like second nature. But then there are some times when you have to rely
Right.
on the anointing. In those moments, I feel like I can always tell when she's doing something because she's done it and she knows
Right.
what to say. But then there's moments where it's like, whew, that's the anointing right there.
Yeah.
And you feel it and
Yes.
see it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm excited about everything you have going on, and of course,
Thank
I'm
you.
following. Of course, I'm just excited for you and everything. Got that things are happening for you. I'm just excited for that. And I appreciate you for joining me on my new venture, spiritandgospel.com. You are my third guest. I had your mom and your Aunt Dorinda on for my first episode.
Okay.
So you're my third guest, and I'm just excited about it. I'm just here to have a platform that kind of promotes faith-based content and gospel music, just to elevate
Absolutely.
the genre,
And I
like they.
love it. I love it, and thank you for doing this. I think more stuff like this is needed with people that are timeless, such as yourself, who too have an ear for not just a boxed in sound, but who gets it globally. So thank you for what you're doing, adding to the kingdom, and being someone that we can relate to. Because I really feel like we're getting an organic person, not somebody that's just like, oh, I'm gonna start something and here you are. Let me put on face. This is actually, those of you who are watching, this is Jason behind closed doors and in front of the camera. And I appreciate his way of articulating the truth, but with some sweetness. So thank you so much.
And thank you for having me. This has been spiritandgospel.com. And thank you. Join us again. Love you.
Love you.